everyone.
Welcome to Stream. My name is Nick.
My name is Jeremy.
And once again, we're streaming live from the California Bay Area in our Stream studio.
Right.
If you're new to Stream, to give more introduction, Jeremy and we are mentors with Area Youth Ministry, and Stream is a weekly youth program for both Christians and non-Christians where we answer your questions and hear relevant content from the Bible and high school students and mentors. We're so glad you're here.
All right, so if it's your first time joining Stream today, we want to especially welcome you. Today is actually a special episode, so hopefully one of your friends did invite you. And just, we want to get to know you later, actually, so we're not going to have a time for that called Stream Team. So it's pretty exciting. Highly encourage you to join for that later. So, as we mentioned, today's a special episode. It is on science and faith.
Okay, that's a very good, interesting topic. So it's going to be a packed night with a lot on this topic on science and faith that we prepared for you guys. But before we get started here at Stream, we love to have fun, and we also want to have with you guys, the audience as well. So to kick off tonight's topic, we'll be doing a science game.
Science, all right. Hopefully, remember things I learned from biology in high school. I didn't do that well in the AP test. So.
Oh, it's all good, Jeremy. But not only that, we have a special guest joining us. He's a current senior in high school and is also an officer for his school's Christian club. So as we go to the other side, please give a warm welcome to Alex.
All right, Alex, we will see you in 1 second.
All right.
All right.
Alex, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you could please introduce yourself to the audience.
Right there.
Yeah, so I'm Alex. I'm a Limerick senior. I'm also Nick's mentee. Also, shout out to my AYM Connect fam.
AYM
I
Connect.
know you guys are out there, so woo!
All right, now before we begin the game, I realized that we are missing something.
Are we now?
Or someone. That's right. You guys asked for it in the chat, and we are delivering today. Again, we got our man, Jordan Yu.
I don't know if you asked for it in the chat, but
Interesting wording.
Okay.
all right, so we have, thank you so much, Jordan, for joining us. So we have our game activity tonight called Science versus Stream. Nothing against science, we love science. So how it's gonna work out is that on the table we have 7 cups of water. And so we're gonna be asking different questions on science, and we'll be alternating between Alex and Jeremy will be answering on behalf of Jordan.
I've been studying for this.
I hope so.
He's been studying. So if a person gets the question wrong, the opponent will then get to throw a cup of water at them. So does that make sense? And then the first person to get 4 questions wrong loses, and the other person is the winner. So those are our rules for tonight. And are you guys ready to rumble?
Let's go. Hey, put in the chat who you think's gonna win.
I didn't know this was happening before I came here tonight, but okay.
Thank you guys.
Alright.
All right, so first question of the night. It is, the Earth is approximately 70% water. All right, so Alex, is this true or is it false?
I feel like I'm not gonna trust my opponent, so I'm gonna say true.
All right, it's okay.
Okay.
It's the correct answer. It's true.
Sure hope you
Alright,
like
next
water, Alex,
fever.
because you're about to get some pretty soon.
Oh my!
You're about to get some
Next
pretty soon.
question.
Fighting words.
What is the boiling point of water? Where's the one is water?
All right, all right.
All right, what are the options? All right, A, B,
All
C,
right,
or
all
D.
right. You know what? Hey, just like Stream, we keep it 100 right here. So I'm gonna go with 100 degrees Celsius. Let's
Okay.
go.
Awesome. All right.
Switch you a little bit there, right there.
Okay.
That's right. Let's go.
Thank you.
Just like Stream, keep it 100.
Thank you.
Keep it 100. Don't
alright.
get burnt by that boiling water, though.
Next question. Name a letter that does not appear in the periodic table.
There's a lot of letters on there.
All right, Alex.
There might be none.
What is a letter?
There's a lot of letters on there.
Periodic table. You got 4 seconds now.
Oh my. 3,
let's see.
2,
Q.
1.
Q. All right, is that J and Q? They are not okay.
AP can finally come in.
AP finally. Congratulations.
Isn't like
Next question. What is the most common blood
Alright.
type?
the
All
most
right,
common
let's go back.
blood
Red.
type? You know what? That's gonna be, I think, another Stream saying we got here. B positive. Let's go. That's a blood type,
Be
right?
positive. No, it's all
No!
positive. It's all positive.
I'm sorry, Jordan.
All right. Jordan.
Oh, he's
He's
prepared.
protecting his
All
eyes.
right, all right.
Do I go?
Protecting
Yeah,
his
you
eyes.
go, you go, Alex.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
Right on the torso.
On his belly.
Wow. All right.
I'm gonna go first. That's all right.
So Alex, next question. So how many? And now
You're welcome,
we're gonna
Jeremy.
change the rules on the spot. The first person to get 3 wrong loses. All right.
All right.
So how many stomachs do cows have, Alex? Let's see our options. Is it A 2, B 4, 3 5.5, or D 6? How many cows do stomach?
How many-
do cows?
How many
How
cows?
many stomachs?
How many
do cows have?
cows do stomachs have?
3 seconds.
I'm not.
2.
I think we have 4
One.
people here, so I'm going with B.
Okay,
There's
B.
4 people.
Cows have. Oh,
my
they have
God.
4
All right.
stomachs. That's
All right.
a lot.
Okay.
All right.
Vibing.
All right,
Next
don't worry, we got
question.
this one.
Jeremy,
We
make
got-
me proud.
All right, so F equals ma is Newton's blank law of
Oh
motion.
my goodness gracious.
All
Wow.
right.
Plus force equals mass acceleration.
Is it first, second, third, or fourth?
Oh man. Oh man. You know what? Let's
Oh,
go
Jeremy.
with. Let's go with I plead the first.
You plead the first.
No!
The second. Come
no.
on, it's the second.
Jeremy, we gotta talk,
F
man.
stands for first, man.
Plead the first.
Oh my. All right. Alex,
sorry,
go.
Jordan.
So, okay.
Yep, you just
Yeah,
go.
All right.
One more, and then he's out. Oh,
Oh
right
my
on
god.
the-
Oh my goodness.
Take a shower.
Okay.
I
All right.
got some water on
All
my
right,
hands.
all right.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry
All right,
about
next question. About how old
Oh,
is the
no
universe,
way.
Alex?
No way you
How
got
old is
this
the
one.
universe?
No way.
I
Let's
gave-
start your options.
Uh-huh.
Those are a lot of years. I'm not gonna say them.
A
So,
lot of years.
which one is the correct option?
If you know the answer, put it in the chat. We can't see it right now. That's okay.
See,
All right, Alex, you have a few seconds.
I do. Okay. I'm gonna
Two.
say C.
C. 13.8. Oh,
Dang it.
that's
See,
a
what
lot
you
of
don't know is I
millions.
Oh my
Billions of
goodness
years.
gracious. All right, that's a lot of years.
All right,
That's a lot of
next-
years.
Next question.
Oh my.
What came first,
Oh my goodness.
chicken or the egg?
You know what?
This is a
don't-
philosophical
what?
question
I
for
don't-
the ages.
Well, it's Friday. Pretty soon it's Sunday. Sunday, you can't get Chick-fil-A. Let's go chicken!
Oh,
What?
wait, what is, well,
It just says
water, which means water.
All right.
Feels wrong.
All right.
That's the.
I'm sorry. I'm
getting-
sorry, Jordan.
And therefore,
It's all right.
Alex
It's
is
Okay,
wrong.
Alex, you just gotta.
All right. Okay.
Jordan. Oh my gosh!
All right, well, hey.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you very much,
guys.
Jordan. Thanks, Jordan.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you next time
Thank
we
you
do
guys so
something.
much for joining
Thanks
us.
for joining, Alex.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Alex.
guys. We'll see you next
See
time.
you next time. It's so
This has been fun.
Goodness. Nice. Good stuff.
All right. Man, that was pretty fun. That was pretty
Yeah,
fun.
that
Did you have a
was-
fun time?
That was pretty fun. I had a great time actually.
Dude, oh man.
Remembered some science stuff that I forgot about.
All right, so hope you guys had fun as well too. So for tonight, we are going to be looking at science and faith, like we mentioned earlier. So now I don't know if any of you have experienced this before, but I remember in high school, one of my friends told me that, they said I don't believe in God because everything's proved by science and there's no need for God.
Okay. So, but then Jeremy, what did you say to him?
To be honest, I didn't say anything. After all, I didn't even really know where to begin of how to talk about this topic with him. At the time, I called myself Christian, but, I actually didn't really know how to answer these questions or even how to approach them. And to be honest, I actually had some questions myself. Some questions like, is science and Christianity compatible? I would go to Google with some of these questions, but it was really hard to sort through, and I kind of got stuck and just gave up.
I see. I feel you, Jeremy. And, over the last couple of years, we've learned a lot about this topic, and I know that we're excited that all of you guys watching now get to be equipped with how to think through and answer these questions for yourself and also for your friends. And so if you're joining us and you're not a Christian, maybe your friend invited you or maybe you saw our Instagram post, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that tonight some of your questions will be answered.
And if you are a Christian, I'm glad you're here too, so that, like Nick mentioned, you can be equipped just to reason through your faith and actually share these reasons with others as well too. So we're really excited for some of our friends who are actually going to help us out with this topic today. So we're actually going to introduce our good friend Mia to kick us off. All right,
Right.
Mia.
Hi everyone, it's a great privilege to be here with you all today to talk about one of my favorite topics, science and faith. So my name is Mia and I'm an AYM mentor as well as a scientist.
Hey, Mia, thank you so much for joining us. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about yourself, just so the stream audience can know a little bit more about you?
Yeah, for sure. So I graduated from UC Berkeley in May 2016 with degrees in biochemistry as well as public health. And for the last 4 years, I've been working on my PhD in biophysics at the Scripps Research Institute in San Diego.
Oh my goodness, biophysics. That's really cool. So, Mia, can you tell us a little bit about what exactly you do?
Yeah, for sure. So for my graduate studies, I'm interested in a biophysical technique called cryo-electron microscopy, or cryo-EM. Now, cryo-EM is awesome because you get these cool 3D structures and movies of your proteins, like the one I'm showing here that I solved during my graduate studies. And you can learn about how these proteins are working in the cell to maintain human health.
Okay,
I heard cryo, I heard movies. That sounds pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm basically a huge nerd.
Whew. Okay, well, now we're wondering, how did you first get into all this stuff, this science stuff in the first place?
Yeah, so I actually wasn't the first nerd in my family. My father is a professor of biochemistry, biophysics, and molecular biology at Iowa State University.
Wow, so that's a lot of different bios. So your dad is a scientist, and that influenced you to be a scientist. So does that mean, did he influence your faith as well?
Actually, no. My father is a professing atheist. So growing up, I adopted my dad's worldview, thinking that there is no God and all we needed was science. Although I grew up in an atheist household, I started going to church in college and became a Christian during my freshman year. And going through college as a biology major who was also in several different research labs, I was often challenged by my non-Christian professors, lab mates, and classmates, as well as my own family members who saw a conflict between Christianity and science. And this made me want to investigate further. After my investigation, I now know that there are rational and sound reasons why you can both believe in science and have faith in God. And I now believe that science and faith are not only compatible, but actually complementary.
Okay, that's really awesome. That's really interesting. So actually, I'd love to hear about some of these findings that you're talking about. And I'm sure a lot of those streaming in today would also as well too. After all, lots of people think that science and faith just don't go together.
Yeah, totally. So many people today would say that science and faith are contradictory. So today we're here to discuss this question further with some of my friends, Grace and Alvina. So I'll send it over to them for now.
Hi, I'm Grace and I go to Lynbrook High School.
And I'm Alvina, and I go to Burlingame High School.
Before we get into the scientific arguments, we will be defining science and faith. Science is the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiments. So in other words, science explores how things work through scientific experiments. Faith, on the other hand, answers the question of why things work, usually with the questions, is there a meaning to my life, or why am I here? So let's take a look at this video, which will illustrate the differences.
What? Why is there water boiling right now? It's midnight and there's no one around.
Well, I'm glad you asked.
What the heck?
The heat energy released from the burning gas is then transferred to the pot, which is transferred to the liquid water molecules inside the pot. The liquid water molecules then overcome kinetic energy to overcome latent heat of vaporization. Next, the liquid water molecules then enter the vapor state. Therefore, the vapor increases until the pressure overcomes atmospheric pressure and begins to boil.
I'm just trying to make ramen.
Adam here technically wasn't wrong, since Devin asked the question of how the water was boiling. However, another way to answer the same question is that the water was boiling to make a bowl of ramen. This answers why the water was boiling. The how and the why are like two sides of a bigger picture, helping us to fully understand the boiling water. Similarly, faith and science work in the same way, and rather than clashing, the two different perspectives serve to help us understand the whole picture. In other words, rather than science versus faith, it is actually science and faith, which work together.
Right, so like they said, science is unable to answer questions of why, including some of the deepest questions that human beings ask.
So that's super interesting because, science and faith are seeking to answer different questions. But, could it be possible that people value the scientific questions and answers more since those are the ones that can be tested and proven?
Yeah, totally. Actually, there's a whole philosophy popularized by many atheists called naturalism that says that the physical world is all there is because it is all that we can test and know scientifically.
So that sounds really smart, but is it right?
Well, let's look at naturalism more closely. So, naturalists believe that the physical world is all there is because it is all that we can test and know scientifically. The physical world is studied by scientists using something called the scientific method that's based on observations that arise through our five senses of sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. But can you prove this statement using science? In other words, can you prove the statement that the physical world is all there is using your five senses of sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing? Anyone? Anyone want to try? Yeah, no, there's no way that you can do that. And therefore, this claim that the physical world is all there is not a scientific claim. Rather, the claim that the physical world is all there is a statement of faith or philosophy.
So maybe naturalism isn't as smart as it sounds, but what is the alternative?
Well, the alternative to naturalism is theism. And the theistic worldview is that the universe is both physical and spiritual. And these two dimensions of the universe are not mutually exclusive. And given the evidences that we do have, which we will go through a few of them later on, as well as our own personal experience, it is actually logical to assume that there is a God. So we can now see that the true conflict is not between science and faith, but it's actually a conflict of faiths, naturalism versus theism. And I want to suggest to you today that it takes just as much faith to be a naturalist as it does to be a theist.
Wow, I can totally see that now. But hey, aren't most scientists atheists and naturalists?
That's a good question, but actually no. Not all scientists are naturalists. And something you may not have heard about in your science classes is how people like Galileo, Johannes Kepler, who discovered the laws of planetary motion, and Sir Isaac Newton, whom you can thank for calculus, and others who are the fathers of modern science were actually theists and believed in the Judeo-Christian God. So what these founding fathers of modern science believed was that nature is a creation of God, and since God is a rational God, his creation is therefore rational and can be understood.
Wow, thank you so much, Mia. Yeah, I can see how the conflict is not between science and faith, but it seems to be about worldviews, naturalism and theism. But let's face it, there's an elephant in the room. What about the theory of evolution? How it gives an explanation of how life came to be without God in the picture? I think that's a question that most of us have for you.
Yeah, totally. That's a great question. And I would like to show you today how the theory of evolution, even if it is true to a certain extent, is actually not in conflict with the belief in the Christian God. And first, we need to know what each side of the argument says. So let's begin by examining what the Bible actually says about creation. So the creation account in Genesis 1 explains that God was the one who created all the heavens and the earth, and as well as all the living things, including man. However, the creation account is not a lab manual on how God created. The Bible doesn't provide the mechanism of how things came to be, nor does it explain the origin of life. But the Bible claims that God is the creator and that he created with a purpose. And in contrast, evolution is a biological mechanism and explains how things came to be. However, this does not necessarily exclude the possibility that there was somebody who made it happen.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And to explain that, I'm going to bring in an example that has to do with Fuji apples. So there's a completely natural and scientific explanation of how Fuji apples came to be. It's a crossbreed between Red Delicious and Virginia Rausgane apples. So pollen from one plant was blown by the wind and landed on the blossom of another plant, and that's how we got this crossbreed. But the truth is that Fuji apples were developed in the 1930s by growers at the Tohoku Research Station in Fujisaki, Japan. And they were the ones who took these two kinds of apples and created the crossbreed of the Fuji apple that we have today. And so Fuji apples were purposely engineered, but we also have this scientific explanation of how things came to be. Even if evolution could explain the mechanism by which life or different species came to exist, that's not necessarily to say that there was not a higher order power behind that. Now, I know this is a widely debated theory, but I just wanted to point out the possibility that there was this higher order power behind evolution.
So that's really interesting. So maybe God could have been involved in the process. But what about Darwin's theory of evolution?
Yeah, so let's talk about Darwin. So Darwin developed his theory of evolution after visiting the Galapagos Islands, where he found birds that were of the same species but differed slightly from island to island. And his theory can be broken down into two major points. So the first is natural selection, which is oftentimes referred to as survival of the fittest. So animals who don't do well die off, and the animals who do well live and pass on their genes to the next generation. For example, if birds have, a certain type of beak that can get to food in hard to get places and there's a time of drought, then only those with the special beaks will live and all the other birds will die out. And the genes for the special beaks are the ones that are passed down, while these lesser beaks eventually disappear from the gene pool. And this is an example of microevolution. Another example of microevolution are microbes that develop antibiotic resistance. Now, the second point of Darwin's theory has to do with something called common ancestry. And the concept of natural selection is extended over huge timescales to where things like mushrooms gave rise to monkeys. And this is an example of macroevolution.
Okay, so I see there's kind of 2 points there that you just talked about. So Mia, what's your evaluation of all of this?
Yeah, for sure. So I totally believe in microevolution. After all, you can test it and see it happen right before your eyes in nature as well as in the lab. But things kind of get tricky when we get to macroevolution. After all, no one has been alive long enough to see whether or not a mushroom actually turned into a monkey. But these are the types of extrapolations modern-day evolutionists make to explain how human beings came to be. And since these evolutionists believe that human beings came into existence by purely natural means, they believe that evolution has therefore disproved that human beings were made by God.
Okay, so what evidence is there to support or disprove that argument?
Yeah, for sure. So what scientists have been trying to do is to look at the fossil record to reconstruct what happened in the past. And I don't have time to go into all the details today, but I can say that at least with the data that we have, it's actually very difficult to conclude that human beings came into existence by purely natural means or by natural selection leading to macroevolution.
Wow. Okay, it's actually really interesting how so many people cling onto evolution as Darwin conceived it, despite not being able to answer some of the basic problems that the theory that Darwin had brought up himself. Okay, so now that we have a good understanding of how science and faith are not contradictions, could you tell us a little bit how they might actually be complementary?
Yeah, totally. So I'm going to propose to you that science and faith are not just compatible, but actually complementary through several clues from science that point us to the existence of a creator. And for the first clue, we're going to talk about the beginning of all things, which is the beginning of the universe. So I'm going to hand it over to Alvina and Grace again to discuss this clue.
Kalam cosmological argument. This one points to God's existence. There are three main parts to this argument. The first one is, everything that exists has a cause. The second one is, the universe began to exist. And the last one is, therefore the universe must have a cause. So the first statement / assumption is that everything that exists has a cause. Is this true? Well, let's think. Something cannot just pop into existence. For example, if you saw a magician pull a bunny out of a hat, you wouldn't think, wow, magicians are so cool. They can make things out of thin air. No, right? You would know that the magician needed to put the bunny there beforehand. Let's watch another video to illustrate this point.
What the heck is that? Ben?
A few moments later.
What? How did this happen?
What do you mean? Are you asking what caused this?
Yeah, a sock doesn't just show up on the monitor.
I don't know, it just popped up.
No, things don't just pop up into existence. Someone had to put it there.
That's ridiculous. It was always there.
What the? Dude, what's the reason for that?
Oh, I just did my nails.
The second assumption is that the universe began to exist. So what was the actual start of the universe like? Well, the widely accepted Big Bang theory states that the universe started as a singular point in space that basically exploded and kept on expanding. This is actually consistent with the creation accounts found in Genesis. Genesis 1:1 says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." The last part, which is the conclusion, says that because everything that exists has a cause and the universe began to exist, the universe must have a cause. So in conclusion, these are two observations and one conclusion. If the first two statements are true, then the third one must also be true. To summarize, because of the Kalam cosmological argument, it makes much more sense that a higher being or higher power created the universe. Someone who is beginningless, changeless, spaceless, timeless, immaterial, all-powerful. Sounds a lot like God.
Wow, thanks so much, Alvina and Grace.
Yeah, thank you. I totally see now how science and faith can actually be complementary through the different points you brought up. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Well, okay, we're almost out of time, but did you have anything else that you want to share with the audience, Mia?
Sure thing. Now, I don't know whether or not you also grew up with an atheist father like I did. And I'm not sure whether you consider yourself a naturalist or a theist, even after today's talk. Or whether you still hold that science and faith are contradictory. But I hope that you can take these points that we've raised today seriously. I want to implore you that Christianity is not a blind faith, but is a reasonable faith that is logical, based on real evidence, and can actually be investigated. After all, I was somebody who grew up with an atheist father, and I grew up thinking that all you needed was science, and that science left no room for God. I was also skeptical that science and faith could ever be compatible. And yet, here I am today as a Christian, as well as a scientist, and finding that the more I investigate this topic, the more that my faith in God grows. I'm constantly amazed at God's fingerprint on all of creation, the fine-tuning of the universe, the infinite complexity of a single cell that biologists all over the world are trying to understand even a minutia of, and how all of creation was for man, that's you and I, to dwell and to marvel at and to be directed back to the creator behind it all. So thank you.
Woo! Nick, that was pretty awesome, right?
That's pretty good.
That was pretty cool.
Pretty good
Hey,
stuff.
let's show Mia and Grace and Alvina, our student volunteers. Let's show them some love in the chat. Give it up. Let's give it up for them. That was professional, man. That was better than like professional stuff. All right, so that was really awesome. We hope that from tonight, you guys are able to learn some new relevant information to show that science and faith are not opposed to each other, but can actually be compatible. And if you have more questions from tonight, please ask them during our stream team time right after this.
Yeah, and once again, if you liked tonight's episode, so please like and subscribe to our channel on the button below and to stay up to date on all things AYM. And we got a couple big announcements for you guys. And the first thing is AYMX.
Extreme. All right, Nick, what is AYMX?
Well, good thing we got this video for y'all. God, you said that you would be here until the end of the age. But people have been asking, where you are, God? There's brokenness. There's brokenness in our world, in our nation, in our cities. Brokenness in our justice system, in our families. Brokenness in me. We've been asking, where are you, God? But we've forgotten that you use people to be your hands and feet. So, what if I gave wisdom and became a leader in my generation? Taking action, speaking out about what to do, what needs to happen next. What if I gave encouragement to the essential workers who are rushing into the places everybody else is rushing out of? What if I gave strength through my words and actions to those who aren't sure when the new normal will be coming? What if I gave hope to the sick who are staring at monitors wondering if they'll be the next number? What if I gave healing to the lonely and hurting, to the ones who have been in isolation, losing their battles before this even started? What if I gave love and saw the need of those around me, the mothers, fathers, the siblings, and friends? What if I tried to serve and love one person today?
Nick, that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, AYMX is a 4-week community service project that offers high schoolers an opportunity to collaborate with local organizations so that you, yes you, can gain 10 hours of community service. If you're interested, please check out the link in the description box below. And we have a project kickoff right after stream at around 8:20 p.m. So Zoom links will be sent in an invitation by your project leads.
All right, so another announcement. That's not all. Maybe you love being part of the group or doing things with other people, and AYMX is a great outlet for that. Or maybe if you want to be a part of this AYM community or have a personal mentor and coach, if that's you. We actually want to let y'all know about AYM mentorship.
Mentorship.
So let's roll that right now.
Mentorship.
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 Real people sharing real stories
Asking big questions.
and getting real answers.
Learning from someone just a step ahead.
Like a coach.
Getting to pick the brains of experts in the field, in your field.
Who are in your corner. Mentors are
college students or young professionals.
Software engineers.
Or on the med school track.
and product marketers.
We come from all walks of life.
Mentorship is simple. Meet once a week or twice a week.
Maybe once every 2 weeks.
Mentorship is completely customizable.
Is a space to be inspired.
Can you inspire me?
Mentorship is community, a place to make friends.
Meet new people, gain new perspectives.
Come on.
Because it's so much more than a Zoom call.
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
Sign up today.
Today.
Ooh, mentorship. Yeah, so if you want to find out more, it's also in the description box. The description box got everything. It's right below, right there. Or you can also check out areayouth.org/thrive. And okay, so we got one more final announcement, but this is a big one. And it's that stream will no longer be happening weekly. I repeat, no longer be happening weekly, but we will be having it monthly, which means the next stream episode will be not next week, but next month on November 20th. I know that's a long way off, so save it in your iCalendar, your Google Calendar, November 20th.
Man, so me and Nick, we're pretty sad about that. We really love being here to talk to all of you on Fridays, but just because we will not have a stream next week, we actually do have something each week that you can join, and it's called AYM Connect. So AYM Connect is going to be on Friday. In fact, next Friday, it's going to be there at 5:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's a little bit earlier, but it's really, really awesome. It's like Stream Teams, where some AYM mentors and some other high schoolers join a Zoom call to talk through questions about life and connect. So again, if you enjoy coming to stream, and especially if you've been enjoying this time of Stream Teams, please join us next week at 5:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at this link. I'm sure we'll get this up there. And then we'll be putting this link in the description, and we'll mention it again at Stream Teams. So I've actually been at the AYM Connect times the last several weeks, and it's a really, really enjoyable time. So highly encourage you to join us there.
All right, and speaking of Stream Teams, we're gonna head over to Stream Teams right now. And if you have any questions from tonight, please ask during your time there. Once again, it's in the description box below, and we will see y'all there.
All right, so have a great time, everyone. From the Stream Team to you, I'll see you next week at AYM Connect 5:15. But from the Stream Team to you, we're out.